We'll start with Coach and go from there.
Alrighty. Well, obviously it's good to see all you guys here again, and it's an exciting time for all of us here at Youngstown State. We're excited to get started here with spring ball. We're excited about the group we have coming back. As you guys know, there's been some changes with the roster and then also with the coaching staff. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But you know, getting ready to take this next step in our program. We feel like that this spring is going to be a crucial spring for us. We've got a lot of players back that we plan on being in positions to play with us in the fall. So there's obviously a couple spots that we got to solidify and find out which one of these guys are going to step up and fill in a couple of voids that we have here and there. But for the most part, we've got a good returning group that we expect to have success with. And it's taken us 2 years to get to this point. And we're looking forward to that. I think some of the objectives, just looking at it from the very beginning, are going to be, how fast can we grasp the defense. I've said from day one, you win championships with defense. That'll never change. I think it's all over football, whether you're in high school, college, or pro football. And we've got to play better defense, and we're excited about the changes that we've made, and we're excited about the group of guys we have coming back, and those kids are excited to jump into this thing. We've got 15 practices and a bunch of meetings where we can get some things worked out and see exactly what we have and what we can and cannot do. And I think the next part of the equation is special teams. We've talked about it. We've changed some things up as far as our practice format, the way we're going to do some things. I think you always get what you emphasize. And I think early on in my coaching career here, I look back, I think one of the things that I look at is I really emphasize third down a bunch. I've emphasized red zone, and we've been pretty good in those areas. And, I think now, taking the next step, we've got to emphasize a little bit more of the 4-minute offense, whether it's offense or defense. And I think emphasizing special teams and getting young players to buy into being a part of special teams. And it's not just players, it's us as coaches. We have to do a better job as coaches coaching it. And I think we have to do a better job of getting our players to buy in and making sure we're giving them the appropriate amount of time we need to get better on special teams. And that's where our focus will be there. But some things that are coming up so you guys have some awareness. March 30th will be a Friday. We're going to have our women's clinic, and that's $25. And the reason why I mention that to you is all proceeds this year will go to ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease. And last year we had given them to the Rich Center for Autism. So this year it'll be Lou Gehrig's disease, and that's always been well attended. It's an opportunity for the wives and young ladies in our community to come out and learn and talk about football with our coaching staff. And when their husband's not around and getting scrutinized or criticized by him for asking a silly question. And then I think the other thing that we're going to probably do a little different this year is we're going to have a spring game on Friday, April 13th at 7:30. And tailgates will open at 5. And the reason why we've kind of went to that format is, as you guys remember last year, the torrential downpour that we had. So now we've kind of have a built-in rain date. So if we have bad weather, if it looks like it's going to be bad weather that Friday, we can move it to Saturday afternoon. So we don't get stuck in a bad situation there for all of our fans and people that want to come to the game and parents and those kind of things. And then I think the thing that we're going to do a little different this year is there's a group of men that are going to be judges. We're going to have a best tailgate food contest. And the first, the grand prize or first place winner is going to win some gift certificates at these restaurants of the judges, which I'll mention here in a second. And then they're going to get 2 sideline passes to the pit game down at Heinz Field and transportation with the team. So it's going to be a pretty good first prize. And our judge panel will consist of Jeff Crystal from Jeff Crystal Catering. So you're going to have some pretty good guys that know food. Ronnie Q from Cafe Capri. And then you got Leo Del Garbino from Leo's over there in the Highland Warren area. And you got Carmen Cassis from MVR. And those guys are going to have gift certificates also a part of that package. So it's the best tailgate food. So if you make the best hot dog, you better have a good hot dog that day. But that's something we're doing just to get some more people out. And then, I think the last part of this thing is we'll have one last practice that following Monday on the 16th. And the purpose of that practice is to put some closure on spring ball, get some of our corrections addressed that we need to get fixed up. And then we're also going to allot a certain amount of time for that practice for some of our guys that we've identified as leaders at that point to show and run drills the way we expect them to be done over the course of the summer. NCAA rules prohibit us from working with players in the summer, and I think we've had great summer participation here in the past. I think we've made a lot of strides. We do some good things, but I think we can get that much better. And we're at a point where we can just get a little bit better at everything we're doing right now. We're going to have a chance to, if we stay healthy, we're going to have a chance to have a special group. And then, as you guys are aware of, we made some coaching changes, and Glenn Davis is a guy that we brought in. He'll coach the cornerbacks. We brought him in from South Florida. He was one of our first players to play for us there when we built the program down there when I was with Jim Levitt. He's originally from St. Petersburg there, so Glenn will come in and coach the corners. And then defensive coordinator, we hired Joe Tracy, and one of the things that I've been impressed with when I met him from day one is he has a tremendous passion for the game of football. He's from Warren. He wants to be back here. I could tell that there's an appreciation for his wife, and she wants to come back to this area. And that was important to me, getting people that really want to be here and be a part of something special. And I think he has a loyalty factor to him that I've already seen, because he's had opportunities with other people since being here, and he made a commitment to be here, and that's been impressive. And I think he's a great teacher. I've had a chance to watch him be around our players, and his accountability that he holds with each player, and his passion for the game of football and his intensity is something that's going to be welcomed here. And like I said from day one, championships are going to be won with some defense, and I think this is the guy that is going to bring something to the table that we haven't had as far as passion and intensity. So we're excited to have him here, and when I get done with questions, you guys can visit with him. I brought him here today, so I'm all yours.
Coach, you mentioned among your objectives how fast the team can grasp the defense. That would intimate that there are going to be some changes made schematically or whatever. What is Coach Tracy bringing with him that you want to add?
Well, this time of year we're allowed to have meetings, obviously, and we're allowed to talk about football for a certain amount of time during the week. And the brief time that I've been able to sit in and just observe, and then watching him just work with players and stuff, is he's got a system. It's very calculated. If I try to throw him a curveball, ask him real quick a question, he automatically knows what he's going to go to, what line stunt, what movement he's going to go, what coverage, and it's a proven system. If you go back and look at some of the places that he's been, he's had tremendous success. Going back to all the places he's been, but in college, they did a great job there at Central Michigan. Obviously, Cincinnati had success. South Florida had success, and UCLA was obviously just a difficult situation to be in right there at the end of a coach's tenure, which is always difficult, but he knows the game of football, and I can see when you're very confident in what you're teaching, kids will grasp it, because you've already been through the glitches and the loopholes and the things that kids have a hard time grasping. Coach Tracy talks about a lot of times about being an engaged learner. And a lot of times when you're dealing with young people, because of all the distractions they have, is you can be standing there talking to them, but they're not hearing you. And what I see him teach, it kind of reminded me somewhat of myself, as far as he's not just talking to one person in the room. He's asking everybody in the room questions, and you might play linebacker, but he's asking the corner what the linebacker does, or the defensive lineman. Everyone's involved. And when you sit in that meeting room, you better be on point. When I would talk to the center, I made sure the tackle knew exactly what he was doing. Where's the running back supposed to go here? I see that same type of thing. And, it's obviously a learning method that I think works.
What's the biggest? How would you characterize the style of defense that he's going to bring? What's the style of defense?
I mean, I think it's multiple in the aspect that I see a lot of different coverages with some glitches here and there that change some things up. And I think the other thing that I see is being able to be multiple up front. Where you place people, line stunts that you run and move, and I see a lot better plan as far as line movements and stunts based on the coverages you play. And I think sometimes those have maybe been at other places. I mean, I've been a lot of places. I haven't seen that attention to detail when it comes to matching line stunts and movements necessarily with coverages, and that gets back to being, gap control, gap football.
Coach, the video we saw of Coach Tracy from UCLA, there was like a mic'd up segment with him. He's a very vocal, in-your-face type of coach. That's what it seemed like. Obviously, that's similar to your style. How will that intensity benefit the defense?
Well, I think this is a game of passion and intensity, and I think it starts with coaches. I've always said that, and you're a reflection of your coach so many times. And I think when we get a chance to get out there in the field and spend 2.5 hours together, these guys are going to learn real quick that you're expected to practice and do things a certain way. Now, I've already seen that from them in the winter conditioning at the 6 a.m.s, but I think when we get a chance to meet and then go out there in the football field, we're going to have the intensity and the passion that I expect. You guys have been around here long enough. You guys have seen me. You know how I am. I'm pretty straightforward and to the point, and I'm not afraid to get after you. And now I feel like, we have, another guy that's very similar. It's, we're from Trumbull County. It's from that water over there, But that's part of the deal. And but I think that's the way the game should be played. Coach it, Joe can't play anymore. You know what I mean? So he can't play. So he's got to coach his players to play it the way he would expect to play, and that's what I say.
Do you think him being a local guy is the biggest difference maybe between him and Coach Kravitz, and why that didn't work out versus this translating to success?
I don't know. Local guy, yes, no. I just think at the end of the day, we just need a change in leadership, and those are always difficult decisions that have to be made. But I think we have an obligation to this university, to this program, to the tradition here, and we've got to just do some things a little bit better, a little bit more attention to detail, play with some passion, be a little bit more accountable, and we got some work to do on offense. I don't talk too much about offense because we've been able to have some success thus far, but we got to learn how to format. When I talk about format offense, I'm talking about our offense. We have opportunities to close out football games. We need to stay on the field. It's very difficult to do, but we need to stay on the field and run the clock out, and then get in the victory position and call it a day. And we've had as you guys know, we've had a lot of fourth quarter leads since I've been here, and we haven't just been strong enough yet and just good enough yet to close the ball game out. And I expect us to be able to do that here in the near future.
Coach, what's your message special teams wise? Obviously that aspect of the game changed some outcomes of some games late in the season. What's your message that way?
I look at the Southern Illinois game. We won that game because of special teams, in my opinion. It's back and forth a little bit here and there, but played pretty well on special teams. And then you look at Missouri State. There's no question that punt right there, not getting that ball, obviously out of bounds there at the end of the game, giving up that return with some poor coverage. Put them in a much better position, gave them some life rather than having them pinned. But special teams is 30% of the game, and over break, I've talked to a bunch of friends and mentors of mine about how many starters you play on special teams. I asked Coach Tracy the other day, when he was with Brian Kelly, who's now at Notre Dame. I said, did you guys ever have that conversation? How many starters you play on special teams? And I think we have to do a better job as coaches in general, just talking to our players about, this is 30% of the game, and it can be a big difference in the game. when you've had as many close games as we've had, we can play better on special teams. And we need more players to play at a high level and take some pride in playing on special teams. Because if not, we're going to have to make some changes. I mean, you know, just because you've earned the right to be here doesn't mean you've earned the right to stay. You have an obligation, obviously academically and as a student, but you have also an obligation to the football program and to earn your way on the field. And special teams is a big part of it, and we're going to emphasize it. You know, when we get done with stretch every day and field goal, we're going to go right to a special teams period. I've completely changed that part of the practice schedule up of getting the fundamentals of special teams play down, and we expect to see results.
How many starters do you think you'll be putting on special teams?
As many as we need. We're going to put as many as we need, except for Kurt S.
Coach, just looking at some of the departures that you've been talking about since February, I guess a couple guys that stick out, Eric Franklin and maybe Mike Thomas.
Eric Franklin, and then Mike Thomas, Gannon Julio, and Tahir Blunt. You know, it's unfortunate, but those guys just decided that, you know, they came to me at different points and decided that they didn't want to play football. And, you know, a lot of those are primarily around that 6 a.m. time when you have to, you know, a lot of guys don't like to get up in the morning. You know, and the thing is, you know, that's part of this time of year, is getting up there and at 5:55 when that horn blows, being ready to go and doing drills and, you know, the discipline things, touching lines and being ready to play, and that's something that is part of every program around the country. It's not going to change anywhere else. So those guys just kind of just said, hey, you know, this isn't sometimes what I thought it might be. You know, it's nothing against you, Coach. This isn't, you know, what I thought college football necessarily was. Sometimes guys want to just really pursue academic interests, which is understanding. You know, so there's always a variety of reasons, but hasn't been any kind of a discipline issue. We haven't had those discipline issues or guys having to get thrown off of the team for violation of team rules or anything. None of that's taken place this year like we've had in the past.
What do you view as the biggest strength right now as you head into spring?
I think the thing is we got a bunch of guys that are coming back that have played. You know, we got 45 guys that have lettered that are returning. And you look at a year ago, well, not even a year ago, last August, you guys were talking about we're bringing 50 new players to camp, I think. You know, now we got 45 coming back that have played. And we're hoping that we can, this recruiting class we just signed, bring in a couple guys, maybe a couple play here and there, but start getting to a point where you can be like a normal football program where you can bring in guys, redshirt them, develop them, get them ready, and then play as sophomores, you know, freshmen a little bit, sophomores, and continue that progression. So, but we got a bunch of guys back with some experience, and I think these kids are hungry. I mean, they're not happy. That last game stung, there's no question, and but you know, it should sting. And you know, these guys are ready to go.
You talked about it taking 2 years to get to this point with the experience and that. How close is this group as you head into spring ball, and if you have a successful spring heading into the summer? How close is this group, do you think, to where you want it to be?
I mean, I think, you know, there's always a couple things that you, as a head coach, you'd like to see better, you know. But, you know, I think we've finally gotten to a point right now where we can expect to line up and play against people. And if, you know, we play well and take care of our business, we should have success. And, you know, we got a difficult schedule, as you guys know. We got Pitt right off the bat down there at their place. They got a new coach, so they'll be all excited. And then, you know, you come back and we got Valparaiso, and then we got Albany. You know, Valparaiso's obviously upset about last year, and then Albany is a playoff team. And then you got Northern Iowa, who's had their way with us for a long time. They're coming to town, and we have a week off, and then we go to North Dakota State. So, you know, you look at our schedule, we got some pretty big road games there early, and we got some good football teams early. It's going to be important for us to get off to a hot start.
Coach, the spots that you do have open competition for, what are you looking for in spring ball from the kids that are competing for those spots?
Well, I think the thing is you know, is who are the guys you can trust? You know, I mean, I've always said before is I have a hard time putting guys out there on the field if we don't feel like we can trust you. Are you a guy that goes to class every day? Are you a guy that goes to study hall? Can you be on time? You know, it's not just always on the field, but it's off the field things too. And you know, you have a responsibility as a position coach. You're putting your name on that guy before you put him out there. And you know, it's a big responsibility as far as, you know, who you're deciding, because it can be a crucial mistake putting the wrong guy on the field, you know, because for the wrong reasons. And I've always maintained that high maintenance people, high maintenance players, the guys you have to always chase around about taking your hat off, earrings, class, being late, study hall, all those guys, those are the same guys that kill you on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, goal line. I mean, they just do. It's not 100%, but they do it much, and you can't count on them.
Is defensive line the biggest question mark?
I think so. You know, I think defensive line, we got a bunch of guys that we redshirted last year. You know, Andrew Johnson obviously played very well, played at a high level. You know, so you're going to look at how many of those guys that we redshirted. You know, is Trevor Strickland. I mean, Trevor Strickland, what's he weigh? It's 6'6". You know, I think Strickland's like 251 right now. Is he ready to be that defensive end that we need? You know, is Steve Zaborski ready? Is Emmanuel Chroma ready? Is Eric Myers ready? You know, those are 4 guys that we redshirted that we felt very good about when we were on offense down there, when they were running scout team defense. I said those guys are going to help us. So this is going to be their chance to show that they can do it. And you know, Lamar Mady will be limited this spring, but they're going to go against a pretty good offensive line. I mean, we can finally say, when we're healthy and playing like we're capable of, we have a chance to have a pretty good offensive line around here. You know, it's night and day from where it was when we started. You know, this group's got a chance to be pretty dang good, and they're all coming back, and they've been playing together. So it's nice to be in that situation for once. So it's good competition for them, so we can get a real evaluation of where we are. And Coach Tracy's not going to let those guys sit still and get blown off the ball if that's the case. They're athletic guys and can move around, and football is important to them, and they're all freshmen, along with the Rondé being back.
You talk about Kurt Hess and Jermaine Cook. I mean, obviously they had fantastic seasons last year. Having them back, what's your level of expectation? I would assume you expect them to do even more than they did last year.
Well, Kurt's taken, you know, his leadership role to another level. I've seen it in winter conditioning, you know, and we're going to continue to open things up for Kurt. You know, we opened some things up last year, started throwing the ball down the field a little bit more, a little bit better, had better receiver play, so we could do that. And, you know, Kurt's got to be excited. I mean, you got a pretty good offensive line in front of you. You got a pretty good tight end. You got some pretty good receivers. You got a pretty good running game. You know, so, I mean, for a guy that's going to be a junior, he's got a pretty good situation around him, and he's a team guy. He knows it. But, you know, we expect Kurt to play at a high level. Jermaine Cook, we probably gave him too much workload last year. We need to find some more guys behind Jermaine Cook that we can trust on and off the field that want to have the opportunity to carry the football. The football's goal. You know, take care of football. So there's guys there. It's just a matter who wants to step up and do it and have that opportunity. All right, got Joe here for you guys.